Ford College Athletics, celebrating excellence. Hawks are flying high. I'm Eric Pate, the voice of Henry Ford College Athletics, and we're going to wrap up the 2020-2021 athletic season with the winter sports. We're happy to be joined by head basketball coach Chris Shepard. He leads the men's basketball team. It's in their fourth year, and they've had all types of distractions this year, but it had a pretty happy ending. They ended up in the Division II National Junior College Athletic Association playoffs and did some great things. So, Coach Shepard, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Coach, it's been a weird year. I don't have my mask, so we're making some progress. But COVID played a big role in what happened this season. Just kind of talk about how you adjusted to that as a coach and how difficult it might have been.
Yeah, so we started later than everybody in our league this year. We started about a week behind. We actually got shut down right before our first game, so we only had like a week of practice, and then we were shut down for 2 weeks there. And normally you start in September. We didn't really start and pick up until about mid-January. So it was a big adjustment this year. We had a lot of downtime, and then towards the end you had to squeeze a lot of games in a short amount of time, and it was tough to get in shape, but I think we did a good job with it.
Well, Coach, just talk about that. I mean, COVID comes along, you're practicing, you're on, you're off. Guys contract the virus. Talk about the ebbs and flows of that whole deal.
So for us, we actually got shut down on the day of a game. It was going to be our opening game of the season, and we found out that we had a positive test or an exposure there, so we weren't able to play in our first game. So that was kind of heartbreaking for the kids. Normally starting our first games in November, mid-January, you're getting ready to play. Monday, Friday morning you wake up and you find out you're not playing. So that was difficult. Then there you're 2 weeks off and you got to play. From there you're right in your league schedule. So we literally played our first league game without a member of our coaching staff there. We made that decision, and then we're playing back to back and every other day for the rest of the season. So we were, it took us a while to get into shape, and the kids did a good job with it. It was probably harder on them than it was on us, because they're the ones that have to practice and play and kind of the stress of testing and are they going to play and the emotions of that. So I thought our kids did a good job.
And speaking of that, when we talk about the way things ended, I mean, let's talk about all the hardware that you received. I mean, you look at the first team all conference, and Carrington McCaskill, he played an integral part, transfer from Florida Atlantic University, a kid from Detroit Renaissance. Brandon McCrena, who made second team all conference. I mean, he's the kind of forward that you want out there to spread the floor. He hits a lot of open jump shots. And of course, all defensive team, Carrington, that name resonates. He's a first team all defensive team in the conference. He's all freshman along with Lorenzo Wright, nice backcourt player. You're the coach of the year. And then the freshman of the year is Carrington McCaskill. There's that man again, there's that name. Just kind of talk about the way things ended up.
Yeah, so Carrington was first team all conference, all American, all region, tournament MVP, freshman of the year, all defensive team. He's special. Brandon McCrena had a monster year for us, shot around 50% most of the season for 3-point. Daniel Autry was actually second team all conference as well. Lorenzo made the honorable mention. I believe he made the freshman team as well. So they earned all those accolades. We had a strong year, and talent wins games, and we got a lot of it, and so I'm incredibly proud of him. Obviously, Carrington deserves everything that he got this year.
And we'll talk to him a little later on. He's going to join us, but you look at this season, 17 games. You do it in a month and a half. You had some real ebbs and flows. I like to think about the way we did it with the webcasting. We left you on March 23rd with a victory against Macomb. Then the next week you play at Mott and probably had one of your worst games. But the following week you're in the playoffs. Let's kind of talk about that part of the season.
So, we learned from the quarantine situation where 14 days it was going to be pretty much non-negotiable. There wasn't really going to be anything you could do about it. And we knew what our draw was in the conference tournament. So we kind of made the decision. We had some guys that didn't play a lot. So we had every intention of sending 7 guys up there to play. We ended up only having 5 guys that played at Mott. So they did a good job and did the best they could. But Mott played with their whole team and we played with 5. And the reason why we did that is if we did have a positive case, or Mott had a positive case, we still had half of our team that would have been able to play in the conference tournament. We knew that if we played in the conference tournament, there would be a good chance that we would go to the national, and that was always our goal. And so we kind of made that decision, but and we used that to get in shape and really work hard those 2 weeks and really condition, and it really paid off for us because if you've seen us play in the conference tournament we were a completely different team. We represented ourselves well at the national tournament. We were able to beat South Suburban and get to the Elite Eight, and we were 10 minutes from the Final Four.
Wow. And if we can, let's backtrack and talk about what you did in the region part of the portion of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You beat Mid-Michigan. You beat them pretty soundly. Then you played Bryant and Stratton down in Ohio to get the win to go on to the national tournament. Speak about the cohesiveness that you needed to play those games in that region.
So Mid-Michigan, we played them in that week returning from the quarantine. That was our third game that week. We didn't play well. They had a lot to do with that. We didn't shoot it. So we were ready to play for them. We played, outstanding. Carrington had a monster game early, and we really shot the ball well. Brighton Stratton was the top 20 team in the country. They were like 12-1, 13-1. Had to go to their place. But, we do a good job of trying to build team chemistry, and I think our guys get along. And so, we were up for that challenge, and we got on the bus and went down and played. We didn't play our best game. They took us out of some things, but we were able to get there, and that was always our goal, get to the national tournament. It's my fourth year here. We haven't been able to get there. We let one get away a couple years ago that we should have probably had, and haven't been able to get there. So I'm incredibly proud about that.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk about talk to Carrington McCaskill momentarily, but I just want to ask you about what this whole experience does for a head coach. What does it do?
Details really, because we were at the point where you go on the road, you don't know if you can go in and eat. You got to pre-order. So we'd have to literally figure out what time we're leaving, place our order for pickup. Find something that we wanted to eat. We try to eat relatively healthy. So if we're going down to the national tournament, the conference tournament, that we stopped in like Cleveland or something at Chipotle to make sure that we had to place our order in a time frame to get there. So paid attention to more details this year, how we practice, trying to keep everybody 6 feet apart, making sure that if we did have a positive case, we were still gonna be able to carry on. And just the emotional end of it for kids. Like we made that decision to play a league game without our coaching staff because we felt it was best for our players after having the heartbreak of not being able to play that day, getting shut down. So I think I'm more detail oriented now. But I don't think it was as hard on me as it probably was on the players.
Well, happy to be joined on the set by Carrington McCaskill. First of all, congratulations. You look at this sheet. You're in every category, it seems. And to be, you have the Coach of the Year, and Coach Shepard, I asked you about him in a sec, but you're Freshman of the Year, you're first team All-Conference, All-America.
Yes, sir.
All of those things, and you're coming from Florida Atlantic University to Henry Ford College. Let's start there. Let's talk about just the thought process of coming here.
So it was a jump. No, not a jump, but in Florida Atlantic, I had little things go on and end up had to leave and then had to regroup myself. Came back home after 2 months. I ended up making a decision to come to Henry Ford after talking to Shep, and end up committing and then got back in the flow and swing of things. And one of my biggest things was actually had to get back in shape. So I guess the coaches came together, and then they basically put me on the hill. And I got in shape, and then once I got in shape, it was kind of like better up from there. And then I just kind of had the success that I had.
Well, I saw you a little bit at Renaissance. You played for a quality coach and Coach Vito Jordan Jr. I better say Jr. because I do know his dad. But Vito has a very disciplined program. You take that Division I jump that everybody wants to do. Was it humbling to come back and play at Henry Ford College?
Yes, it was, because like I said, once I had left Florida Atlantic, I was 2 months like without playing basketball. So once I had got the offer basically that I can come and actually hoop again, I was just real psyched that I could get another opportunity to hoop. I didn't really know what it was gonna be, who was on the team. I just kind of jumped in there. I didn't know if I was gonna have to be looked at this way, and then I had to fight my way into, but it just came along into it, and met my coaches, and then they all trusted me, and we all did what we did.
And the numbers were pretty good. I mean, the guy puts up 14 and a half, 9 rebounds, shoots 54%. And I remember talking to you early in the season, Coach, and you're saying, hey, he's not in shape yet. He's not in shape. When do you think that he turned the corner and got in shape?
From the last time you seen him play against Macomb, that was the last time we really played, and he was in better shape there. He was having monster games out of shape. I mean, once he could play what his talent allowed him to, he's different. I mean, 14 to 9. He's unselfish. He's the best athlete on the team. Blocks shots. He runs. But what makes him special is he's completely unselfish. He's one of the few kids I've ever been around that's an absolute superstar that doesn't care about anything other than winning. And I'm incredibly proud of him. To come in January, like he said, not know anybody, and just kind of come in and let's be honest, you come from a Division I to here. We're not a premier team in the country yet. We're working on that, and for him to come in and really just be a part of what we're trying to do and be a humble superstar is, hats off to him, hats off to his mom on how she raised him, and we're blessed to have him.
And Coach, if I can, and maybe Carrington, you can join in on this. Some of the other guys on this team, I mean, just give us an update on where some of the young men are headed. And before you do that, and maybe both of you all can comment on how special this group was. Because in 11-6, the record, you look at it and you say, but it's a tried and tested 11-6. Would you agree?
Yeah, we Lorenzo Wright got a scholarship down to Christian Brothers down in Memphis, Division II. Blessing for him because a year ago he only had a Division III offer where he was going to have to pay money, so he was able to get a full scholarship there. Most of our team will be back. A lot of guys are moving on to go to school and still looking for some other opportunities. But Lorenzo was able to move on. We have a couple of players back, Carrington and Brandon McCreena, big part of what we're going to do this year. And 11-6, we've been 23-5. We've had monster years here. The 11-6, I mean, when you get shut down, you practice 3 times, and then you're getting ready to play a game. You get shut down for 2 weeks, no contact, no practice, nothing. And then you got to play league games, so you really can't get in better shape because if you're not in shape on Tuesday, you sprint and run, and then Wednesday you got to play a game. You're not going to have it. So, we had a lot of ups and downs. We lost some games we shouldn't have. We peaked at the right time, and South Suburban in the national tournament, that's a blue blood. That's like playing North Carolina in our world. They're really good. They got a kid that has an offer to Oregon. To beat them, to go to the Elite Eight, and Iowa Lakes, we were right there for 30 minutes of that game, and we're battling and on that stage, and we came up a little short there, but it's the best the school's done in school history, and off the floor we never had any issues there, and they all got along. It was just a special group in that regard, and that has a lot to do with him. When your superstar is humble, the rest of the guys are going to follow suit.
And speak to that, Carrington, this group that you had to get adjusted to, and to have the coach say, hey, you're a humble superstar. How much you think they rubbed off on you and you rubbed off on them?
It was all collective. Because when I came in, I didn't want to just come in, I'm the D1 dude. Nah, I just wanted to come in humble and I'm the same as everybody else. And I feel like that kind of like made us come together even more. Because, when I first got there, everybody's looking like, oh, like who minutes going to get took or something like that. But like, nah, it was just like we had to like basically bond together. And then it just came along and then we was all cool. And then as we started playing, we just like developed chemistry basically.
How tough was this whole COVID thing for you? I mean, I don't have my face mask on because I'm fully vaccinated, but how tough is it for a student athlete to go through this whole thing? Shutdowns, you got to wear a mask while you're out there on the court. All of these things that you would never even fathom.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Just the whole thing of it, just from starting, we had to get tested every other day, and coming in, like, I mean, we was already in there early, but just the fact that we had to get tested every other day, like just like you said, wearing the mask during the game is like kind of tough to breathe, as far as like running. And then one game got ejected for like having my mask down, so like they took me out the game for like probably like a minute or so. But that was the whole point, like why we gotta like wear our masks, like while we were playing basketball. But that happened, and yeah, it was just really just real tough, just wearing the mask and just dealing with COVID.
And when you think about this sheet that I have highlighted with your name highlighted everywhere, and you have the Coach of the Year here, what does that mean? And just talk about Coach Shepard first, and then kind of talk about what all this means in terms of what you've accomplished. Now you have a chance to reflect on it.
For sure. All them accomplishments. I'm having the
that's fine.
Accomplishments. You know,
There you go.
Say.
You got it.
It started with like my coach. Like I said, he was pushing me. Like if I wasn't really in shape, I feel like I probably wouldn't have like been evaluated like that. Like it started with him like getting me in shape, and then also the development that we did inside like on the court, like far as just getting prepared and getting ready and everything. It's really a major like I said, or when like Coach said, coming in January, and to be able to get all those accomplishments. I'm having a bad time.
Right. We got accomplishments. I said it for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a real blessing to be able to like receive all those within the little time frame that I had, and to be able to just hop on the program that was already kind of going, and just
Yeah.
See what kind of kid he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't like talking about himself.
Right.
He's the real deal.
It's my job to kind of make him feel a little uncomfortable, and ask those questions. But last thing I want to ask you is this: I mean, you get to come home, and I know how close you are with your mom. Mm-hmm. How important was that to get back here and get back into that comfort zone so she could see you play and be your big supporter?
It was real. Well, COVID, she couldn't really see me, but she was watching from the skies, or not the skies, but from the film, little recorder. So her to see me, it was real good for her to give me the little text after the game, like, you got to rebound, you got to shoot your free throws better, just to have her have a big smile on her face and see her like after the games, and just for her to be happy just to like see me back into it. Because when I left Florida, she was kind of like, oh, I need you to play basketball, like, she was kind of just upset and just distraught, like that I've been going for so long that I didn't want to play no more. So just to see a smile on her face just kind of made me do better.
Oh, so you mean she was watching me on the webcast, me and my partner there?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, well, hey.
You did a real good job.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. Hey, just tell her to tune in. Hopefully I'll be back next year. But just guys, and I appreciate that. Guys, if you could just kind of wrap it up by just talking about the whole experience and looking forward into the future, talking about how you guys were flying high, so to speak. And I'll start with Carrington, and Coach, you can have the last word on it.
So for this year, I'm just looking really to like get the national championship that we were trying to like reach and get last year, with the guys and stuff that we got going on or coming back, and the guys that we picked up and received. I just can't wait until we really get fully into it and get to like everyday practice and conditioning and the whole flow of things.
Okay. Coach Shepard?
For us, we took the next step. I mean, we've won the league 3 out of 4 years. We won a state title. We lost in the conference tournament a couple years ago to a team that we had beat twice in the regular season. We thought we should have won that one, didn't get it done there. So for us to get over that hump, takes a little pressure off me. But we've kind of added. We're really excited about our recruiting class. Brandon McCreena is back. Carrington and Brandon and Sergio Stefan will be back as well, and so we're excited about that. And we've added another Division I transfer. Pretty high-profile high school kid, another really good high school kid. So we're excited about our recruiting class coming in. We think this year is going to be the year that we can really go. We're significantly, I think we're significantly better than we were last year, and so we're excited about that. And this group, Leon Ayers kind of started it with the Division I trend. He's playing at Duquesne, and Carrington's going to be a no-brainer, and that'll be our second one. And hopefully we can continue to just place kids at 4 years. Lorenzo's going down to Christian Brothers. We're excited about that, and just want to continue moving kids on to 4 years and representing our school the best way we can.
Coach Shepard, really appreciate you joining us. And Carrington McCaskill, much success to you in the future. Looking forward to seeing you in the 2021-22 season. Sounds strange, man. These years are just going by, but this is the way we started off. We're celebrating excellence. Hawks are flying high. These are the basketball guys from the men's basketball program. Stay with us. We have plenty more in store. And we are back with the Celebrating Excellence. Hawks are flying high here at Henry Ford College. I'm Eric Pate, the voice of Henry Ford Athletics, Henry Ford College Athletics, and we're happy to be joined by softball coach Steve Brown and a fine player indeed, Moya Jones, second baseman. And want to first of all say congratulations on a great year and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's start with Coach Brown. Coach, this had to be a great year for you. I mean, think about these numbers, folks. 29-10, 23-5 in the conference, and they've had winning streaks after starting 0-3 now. 6-game winning streak, a 3-game winning streak, a 9-game winning streak, and a 8-game winning streak. Coach, talk about this year and how special it was in COVID.
Okay, first and foremost, I gotta say this is probably one of the best years I ever had in terms of coaching. I coached baseball most of my career. I've coached baseball over 30 years, and just recently, 4 years ago, actually this is my third season, I took over the softball program at Henry Ford College. And in terms of team, the best team I ever coached out of all those years. I've coached baseball at Henry Ford. I coached high school baseball. I coached travel baseball. But in terms of team, the best team I ever coached.
And what was it about this team?
Well, number one was about this team. I told them, once we got midway through the season, I told them, you guys are creating magic. And what I mean by magic is that in this day and age, a lot of young folks are taught to be individual, selfish to get theirs in this coaching. And somehow, this team came together and supported one another through thick and thin. No matter where we won or lost, I had never, not one time, we had one confrontation, one pointing the finger, ever. They supported one another in whether they didn't do well, and they cheered for one another when they did well. And it's just amazing. I've never been through a season over 40 years of coaching where I had a team that I have not one conflict with no individual players, zero.
Wow, and you mentioned it in this culture where it's all about me. You know, it's got to be a rarity. You know, so speak on how you think you may have impacted these young people.
Well, what the biggest thing is my foundation, and through my coaching career, from my mentors and things I learned, is that I believe you build a program from the bottom. You build it with a strong structure. So number one is in terms of recruiting, you make sure you recruit the type of players that you believe in. And I believe in blue-collar families. I love downriver kids. I think they're the best kids to coach. There's no doubt about it because most of them come from downriver family. And number one, you recruit families, you recruit the kid. And number one, you want students. Number one, Henry Ford is great academically, so you have to recruit a student athlete. So you hear what I'm saying about student. And then number one, the next thing, number two is you got to recruit good teammates. So when you recruit student athletes, good teammates, and good talent, then good things happen. So this team has accomplished, they exceeded my expectation. You know, I'll be honest with you. And, we had goals, but they broke those goals in half. They went to a level that I had to sit back and just admire. We won our conference. We took over a program that finished last. We took it over, and probably either second to last or last for maybe 6 or 7 years in a row. So it was very tough. It was a very tough grind to the top. But once everything got together and the young ladies believed and bought into the coaching, and we was able to win the conference. It was one game from the World Series. So I have nothing but great things to say about these group of young ladies. The best group of athletes I ever coached in my life. And the one thing I'm loving about it, because I come from baseball to softball, and I really didn't know whether or not I would like it, whether or not I could be successful on it. But I'm telling you what, this game is a fun game to coach. It's an exciting game, and I just think this game is going to continue to grow.
Well, I want to just call off some names in this postseason, those postseason honors, before we turn over and talk a little bit to a young lady that you're proud of, I'm sure, Moya Jones. But think about it. You got Moya Jones, who was all MCCAA, all region, Division II. You have Anna Atherton, same thing. She's all region, all MCCAA. And then the first team all conference, again, Moya Jones, Anna Atherton. And then Kennedy Cornett she's one of your ball players that plays first base. She's a first-team all-conference player. Then second team, you have Brenna McAllister and Lauren Gannon, who was part of that double play combo. And this young lady here, the second baseman, Lauren Gannon is a shortstop. 9 double plays. Led the conference with 9 double plays. This young lady. So before I talk to her, I want to ask you. You found her at Farmington Hills Harrison, but did you expect her to be this good?
All right. So first and foremost, family member of mine saw her playing and gave me a call and said, "Hey, you need to come see this young lady and have opportunity to come see her play." And knew she had tons of potential. Really did. She had everything that it needs to be what she needs. Now we had to get her to believe in herself and get her to really believe she could play at a very high level. I mean, to be honest with you, she could have went D1 this year, but she decided that she wanted to go to school with her sister and she wanted to go to school in the South. So, it was. But just to say, in terms of talent, I knew athletically she was a D1 athlete, and now it's just putting the work in, getting her to believe in the coach and believe into changing some things, and not a lot. Didn't have to change a lot, and she bought into it. One thing I can say about Moya that I did learn about her, she loved the game. You know, no matter, she was at practice, didn't have to talk to her about practice on time. If the reason she wasn't at practice on time, it had to be a good reason. Never had to talk to her about being dedicated to the game. So, hey, just great young lady coach. I look at her like she's my daughter.
Wow. And Moya, before we read off all these gaudy numbers, again, welcome. But Moya, talk about how that must feel from your head coach. Now, I played for some head coaches, and some of them didn't say some great things about me. Yeah. But Coach Brown is saying these great things about you. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good. I'm just glad we, figured it out because, we started from the bottom and we here.
Now we here.
Yeah, we
a little
did
Drake for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But Moya, now let's talk about these numbers. I mean, we already mentioned led the conference in double plays with 9, right? Mm-hmm. Then at second base, hey, you're a .515 batting average, a .570 on base percentage, 23 home runs, 62 RBIs, runs batted in, and 12 steals. When you hear those numbers, what do you think about?
I just know it's crazy. Not many people do that, so yeah, I feel good.
I mean, All-America status. I mean, talk about that and what that means to you and maybe your family.
I'm really excited. It took me a while to get to where I am now, so I'm glad I, pulled through and figured it out.
Well, Coach Brown, you were on the phone showing me some statistics, showing me that certain players across the country have twice as many at-bats as this young lady, but yet Moya did this with 130 some odd at-bats, 23 home runs. Just go inside the numbers for me if you can.
Okay, just inside the numbers, and again, like I said, I look at it as my daughter, and every young lady on my team, I feel the same way. But the one thing about this is because of COVID, we weren't able, with the restrictions in terms of COVID and what we hear in our school and just keeping it safe, we weren't able to play the 9 league games we normally play. So at bats, Moya had 133 at bats. She hit 23 home runs. The person who hit 29 home runs had 222 at bats. The number one person in the country. She was number 5 in the country. So she had almost double amount of at bats, and Moya was just 6 home runs away from her. So number one, I felt like she made third string All-American, but she's my first string All-American at Henry Ford, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. And let's not forget, Coach Brown, you're a conference coach of the year. Yeah. I know you're a humble guy, and talk about that. And then I'm going to ask Moya about her coach of the year.
Well, let me just say this first, because it takes a team to do this, and you're a part of this family now. So you understand it takes a team. So let's first go by and who helped me with no doubt about it. We talked about Moya, but let's just talk about, go down the list of those young ladies you just mentioned earlier. And the first person we talked about, Anna. Anna, freshman, came in. Anna came in as the first baseman. I knew Anna had power. I knew she was going to hit well. And but again, you never know how a high school student is going to make that transition for freshman year, from senior in high school to freshman year in college. You never know that. And everybody never know. Every now and then people might think they know, but you don't know. Some just make that transition. And she made a transition pretty smooth. And not only she made a transition, she was a very good first baseman. We had Kennedy, who was a very good first baseman. We flagged and fly balls one day, and she's out in the outfield catching fly balls and running it down, and she ended up being our center fielder, and did a very good job out outfield. And what she did was she gave us offense, defense. She hit she hit 13 home runs. She hit 13 home runs as a freshman. That's huge. That's huge. So Moya, what Moya done is crazy, and what she done is huge. So Anna, we have a young lady like her. Then Brenna, my pitcher, just the ace pitcher, came on the mound. Became a quiet leader on the team. Got it done on the mound, was an ace. Got it done. Our best outfielder. Just a tremendous young lady, great personality, and that was helped make that chemistry work. I thought she just quiet, but very supportive of her teammates. They made an error. She pitched and she never flinched. Never, but supported her players. Even when the coaches got on some of the players, she came to the coach and said, "Hey, coach, they tried." She supported her players even through this. So she's just an awesome person. Then Kennedy, we call her Big Rig, and tough. Anna came in, played some first base. Kennedy always was a top batting average person in our league. Hit home runs, hit for power. Just a great teammate. It was just unbelievable. Just being around these young ladies. I felt like I was blessed being around them. So Kennedy she's a third, fourth, fifth hitter in the lineup because we didn't have a leadoff. I put her first. Did not complain. Way out of her element. Probably never hit first in her life. And she took that first spot, and that set the tone, and that really set the tone for us the rest of the season. Once we changed that, but when we got them first 3 losses you talking about, we was tweaking our betting. We was tweaking our betting lineup. We put her first, Lil second, and her first. It was over after that. We went on. That's when you see those 8-game winning streak, 3-game winning streak, 9-game winning streak, and then Lauren Gadden, another freshman coming in playing short. The toughest position on the infield. Took that leadership on. Another good teammate. Filled that position like she'd been there before. Another supportive teammate. Worked hard. Came before practice. Stayed after practice working. Just another young lady. You just love to coach. Love to coach. We got hit with the pandemic a little bit, but we still came back, hung in there, and still did be successful. So when you say being coach of the year, I had a great coaching staff. I had a great group of kids, and I feel honored to do it, but it takes good people around you, your coaching staff, your players, to buy into what you believe, to honor. So I'm coach of the year, but I couldn't have done it with all the ingredients that for me to be that.
And Moya, I want to ask you. Tell me about this coach of the year. Hey, you're an All-American.
Yeah.
And this guy's the coach of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What 2 great ingredients for the stew?
Right. He's a great coach. He's fun and supportive, and he pushed us to be great, and I feel like that was a good element to get us to where we are now.
Now I know you're going to Johnson C. Smith, a historically black college and university down in North Carolina. Talk about what led to that decision and what excites you most about your decision.
Well, there was 2 schools that I was interested in North Carolina, and I know my sister was going to North Carolina to bowl on scholarship, and I wanted to be with her, and I thought it would be fun. So, yeah.
Good deal. And what memories are you going to take away from Henry Ford College? Just expound upon that.
Well, this year I like the girls this year. Like we had a nice bond. You know, we haven't really known each other that long, but we played like we've known each other for a long time, and it was just fun.
And talk about the COVID thing. I mean that like really cast a big cloud over everything. But it seems like you found the silver lining. Just talk about it as a student athlete.
So last year it was hard. We didn't get to finish our season, and I just wanted to I didn't get to do what I could last year, so I came back harder this year and just did my thing.
Wow. How did these masks or anything like that affect you?
Oh yes.
Wow.
Yes, very hard to breathe. Yes.
But I got one thing I want to say that I didn't say that I'm really proud.
Sure.
Number one, I'm Moya in terms of, we talk about her athletic accomplishment, but I just want to let everybody know she finished with an overall GPA of 3.0.
Wow.
Our team, the fall semester and the spring semester, finished the overall GPA with 3.0. So the Hawks is not just getting it done on the field, we getting it done in the classroom. So young ladies out there, if you decide to become a Hawk, you're going to be a great student, a great athlete, and every single one of my second-year player is moving on to a 4-year school.
Wow.
Period. So we work hard in the classroom and on the field.
You want to name drop any deals that the players received?
Okay, again, I mean now,
because
I think everybody will understand this.
Yeah.
Moya turned down D1 offers, D2 offers, NAA offers to go to be with her sister. Be honest with you, I'm like, Western Michigan called. I'm not gonna name no other schools, but schools was calling me, and Moya was like, nope, I know what I want to do. I had to take a deep breath a little bit. Like, you're not gonna talk to him, But again, I respect that. And you respect it. So she's going with her sister. I think that's when I think about it, what this really all about. She get an opportunity to go to college with her sister, and both of them on athletic scholarships. So that's huge. That's huge, and that's so. I admire for that. Then I got Brenna, who's going to Wayne State. Brenna was our pitcher, number one pitcher. Just tremendous on the mound for us. And she had, once again, plenty offers at 4-year schools, but she decided she's a really strong academic. She had like a 3.97 GPA. And she decided that she wanted to go to the Mike Illis Business School at Wayne State. She was able to get a scholarship going there, and that's what she's decided to do. She enjoyed the 2 years she played with us. Kennedy is going to Concordia, and she's going to do well there. And then Alyssa, who's another second-year person, she's going to Concordia. So we have 4 young ladies that's leaving, and all of them going to school. So that's my goal. That's once they come in, if they take care, if they follow the plan, then we moving them on.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Steve Brown, Moya Jones, All-America. I mean, it's just so interesting to learn about it. And hopefully we'll do some webcasts, do some softball webcasts.
Oh, yeah, we want that.
Get out there and see you.
And I just say this, and I know a lot of people out there, if you haven't, but if you just, and I'm sure they're going to have Tate game, watch some of the World Series games. These young ladies are playing at a very high level. My girls was playing at a very high level. I mean, it just amazes me. Matter of fact, I have to work off every season to become a better coach, to coach them, to make sure they play at the best they could be. Because I came from baseball, and a lot of people have egos where they think because you came from baseball, you can coach softball. It's a different game. 60-90 versus 60-40. Whole different one. 60-90, base 60-90, the mound is 60 feet. So now everything's shorter, so the game is fast. Moya tell you, get a ground ball, you don't have a whole lot of time to make a decision. You bobble it, you got to make a decision. Right. And then I have to learn how to coach to that. So again, like I said, all these years I've been coaching baseball. But Eric, I just want to tell you this, and a lot of people don't know. You just recently came on board, and you was recommended through one of my best friends, Jeff Lowe. I just want to thank you for what you've been doing, man. You have really been supportive. You love what you do, and man, I am happy that you are part of this Hawk. thing we got going here, man. I just want to thank you. You do a great job, very professional, and we're lucky to have you.
Well, Coach Brown, I really appreciate that compliment. Moya Jones, thanks for joining. Good luck in your future down at Johnson C. Smith University. And Coach Brown, we'll see each other around campus. And before you know it, it'll be softball season again.
Season again.
So thank you both for joining us. We'll have up next the wrestling program. We'll have Grant McKenzie, head coach, and we'll be joined by also have Azil Amudhala, who's joining us here and talking about what happened on the mat this year. More after this. Celebrating excellence, Hawks are flying high. More after this. And welcome back to Celebrating Excellence. Hawks are flying high. I'm Eric Pate, the voice of Henry Ford College Athletics, and we're happy to be joined by Henry Ford College wrestling coach Grant McKenzie in his 8th season here at Henry Ford College, and 125-pound wrestler Azil Amudala. And I tell you, Azil was an All-American. So I'm surrounded by talent to my left and to my right. And guys, hey, thanks for joining us, okay?
Thanks for having us.
And really, it's been difficult for all student athletes. And Coach McKenzie, you can speak to this. The COVID situation had you on again, off again. Just kind of describe how you all handle that within the program.
So I tell you, I kept my game face ready. Truthfully, on the inside, I was nervous. I didn't know if we were really going to have a season. I knew it was going to be delayed, and I thought that could buy us some time. Hopefully the stuff will go away. And it wasn't really going away, and the numbers were going up, and it was just such a stressful year. And we kept our best foot forward. We did what we had to do. I think we paced ourselves the right way. I had to keep in touch with everybody to make sure. I had to be that positive light to make sure that we're going to get through this. And by the grace of everything, we did get through it. It was a pretty good year.
Wow. I mean, I'll say it was. You get to the national tournament, you finish, 22nd?
We tied for 22nd, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that you have to really feel great about the way that thing turned out, right?
Oh, I mean, when you leave the tournament with an All-American, it's a good season.
Well, speaking about this All-American, I mean, this is a gentleman who has earned a scholarship to Gannon University. He's a 125-pound wrestler, and in your room, that weight class is pretty good. And to have this guy be an All-American, just kind of talk about what he means to this whole team.
So, Azil, I mean, he may not admit it, but I know the guys love him. The guys look up to him. He leads our warm-ups. He's a natural leader. I'm so lucky to have him. I think he was one of the toughest recruits ever, because when I first met this young man, he was 14 years old. He would ride his bike up to the school, and we would do these workouts on Sundays, these camps, and he would bring his buddies. And he had a successful high school run, and I kept in contact with him, and I thought, wow, he's a local kid. He should be easy to get. And he wasn't. He had his eyes focused somewhere else, like maybe a bigger school, waiting for phone calls to come in. And definitely talented. When he finally gave me the call or the text message that he wanted to be a Hawk, I was super happy. Finally getting a local kid that's tough. I had history with him, but what Azil meant to this program, or means to this program, he was just brave. He fought through adversity. During his freshman year, I mean, I don't want to say anything negative, but you were kind of the backup, right? You were a backup to another All-American.
Yeah.
So he had excellent workout partners. He worked out every day with Dante Rivera Garcia, who ended up placing 8th. So he had an excellent workout partner at 125. Then at the weight class above 133, he had Another excellent workout partner, Scotty Torres. And he worked nonstop. You could see him progressing every week. Coaches were talking about him. I had people from other teams talking about him. And sometimes they don't remember the names, but they remember the weight class. So they say, oh, that 125-pounder, that 125-pounder. And I always would first reference Dante Rivera, but they were really talking about Asil. And he made an impact on other teams with his behavior. The way he held himself, the way he just conducted his business. He was very sportsmanlike, and just every single match he just fought tooth and nail and whistle to whistle. I mean, if you win or lose, he gave so much effort to every match, and people recognized it.
And Asil, I want to turn to you and talk a little bit about not only are you a great wrestler, and the mark that you're leaving here at Henry Ford College, but in the classroom, you graduated with a 3.8 grade point average. Just kind of talk about that journey and what are the keys to success. If you suppose you're talking to one of your peers, what advice would you give them in order to be a great student?
In order to be a great student, there isn't no shortcuts. You got to work hard, and just like how wrestling taught me, it taught me to work hard. So my work ethic was definitely there. And that's the hard part. The easy part is time management. Just being smart with your time between practice and at school, and like when to do your homework, not to procrastinate, because that's a bad habit that you get once you get started with it. It just gets worse, like the snowball effect. But I managed my time wisely. I worked hard, and that's really all there was to it. I mean, you got a bunch of great professors at Henry Ford. They help you. They're always there for extra tutoring. I'm pretty sure it's free here. I used to go to it a couple of times in the Learning Lab. And Coach Grant, you actually used to require of us 6 hours at the Learning Lab every week, which also helped. He always made us go there, so we'd always go there and we'd get our homework done there every week. And he helped us like manage our time. And that's what I would tell a student, any new student, any incoming freshman.
As you look back on this season, being an All-America, having some success on the mat, getting to the national tournament and doing those great things, I guess I feel a little cheated. I came to the Hawks Invitational. We did the broadcast, as you all know, and I didn't get a chance to see you wrestle. But just kind of take us through that journey of the things that you accomplished this year, now that you have a chance to look back and reflect.
The things I accomplished this year, I'd say I enjoyed wrestling this year. It was a very fun season, even though it was uncertain. I got a few matches. I didn't get as much matches as I liked, but that was all because sometimes you have to take a week off, regroup, and I know Coach Grant is he's really supportive about taking a week off, because he always used to say, it's a marathon, not a sprint, because we have a really long season, and just as we said before, the season's Nationals at April, which is really long since the season starts so early. It's supposed to be actually a winter season. I liked how dominant I was during the matches. I'd never let matches really get close. So if I won them, I'd win them like by a major decision or a tech fall, which is 8 or more, or even a pin. And I think all to the work we all put together as a team this year. We put in a lot of work, even though it was during a COVID year and we never knew when our season could be shut down. But that never made us scared or anything. We just kept working harder to a certain goal of the Nationals.
And how were you able to keep the team together?
Keeping the team together, it was just staying positive. We did a lot of fun things through the year. Like we'd watch wrestling matches, like big wrestling matches together. Like we watch NCAA finals, we watch it on campus together. We'd go out to eat together as a team. We were always doing stuff together as a team to build bonds. We would always set up fun things as a team. We were all friends, we were all family, and I think that's how we kept the team together, even though it was hard with all this COVID, all these restrictions. We never knew what could happen next.
Okay, and Coach McKenzie, talk about the disruptions and how that affects wrestling. Now we've had a softball coach on, we talked to the basketball coach, but in wrestling, boy, considering the weight classes and things, how difficult was that?
So the weight management It's not necessarily easy. Luckily, our guys did fairly well with the weight management. And it helps when you compete every single weekend because it's how you manage yourself, right? You know that by Saturday at a certain time you have to weigh a certain amount. And we didn't have the overnight trips like usual. In previous years, when the year was normal, we could stay in a hotel, and the hotels would have workout rooms. We would bring the scale with us. So we weren't really worried about it the night before. Everything was controlled, okay? So this year, we never knew if there was going to be a case that was positive with the corona. We didn't know if there was going to be contact tracing. Some kids had to sit out from other different teams. There was a constant worry. But the weigh-ins we had, maybe we had 6 or 7 weigh-ins. It wasn't too bad. Wasn't a very long competitive season. But there were definitely some struggles. Am I answering the question
Yes,
right? Okay,
sure.
so it was just a goofy year. Like the whole MCCAA, the 5 teams that we stuck together. We kind of said from the beginning, this is what we're going to do. Every Saturday, we're all going to show up to one event, one venue. And then we had a round-robin system where we would get 2 matches. Everyone would get a bye match here and there. But we did a round-robin with the dual meets with the teams. And then luckily we had the MCCAA tournament. And one of our goals is to win that every year. We won it in 2020. We wanted to be back-to-back champs. Came in second place. We were behind by 11 points. That's the way it goes in athletics, but we're going to be back at it to win it next year. But we were lucky to have a season. I mean, when you think about contact, wrestling is definitely a contact sport. You can't hide from it. A mask isn't going to really help you. The college did a great job with the testing that we did. Every single athlete and coach had a test 3 times a week. We knew what was going on. We would receive our text messages or a phone call the next day. So I liked how that was played. Like that gave a little bit of peace of mind. But it was a struggle.
And I want to turn to you, Asil, and ask you this question. I mean, COVID is one of those things where, if you're in the same room with someone, you can catch it. So was there any fear in the back of the wrestlers' minds? What were the conversations about when you're talking about COVID and contracting it and wrestling?
Oh man, COVID. The conversations were like really intense and fearful. We never knew when we were gonna get it. I actually got it during the season. I had it 2 weeks before nationals. Almost missed the deadline. It was kind of really scary. I worked hard all season. I didn't know if I was gonna get to wrestle nationals. It was a lot of waiting. I had to wait on the test and see if I was positive. I ended up being positive. I barely made the deadline. Barely made it by like a day, and I was able to go wrestle at nationals. End up going All-American, but it was so close to a certain point where I was not. And leading up to nationals, I wasn't even allowed to cut any weight. I had to quarantine, so they made my weight cut hard, especially since I was sick and I didn't get any practice time, no mat time. So I literally just went to nationals. I had to wing it, but I knew I worked hard all year, and that wasn't gonna stop me. COVID wasn't gonna stop me. I made that up in my mind. I wasn't gonna let it get in my way, especially after I worked so hard. And it was kind of like weird because all year long I feared COVID. And then when I was like, okay, 2 more weeks until the season, we're almost done. What's the worst that could happen? And then I get COVID. Thankfully, I didn't give it to any of my teammates, so that's what I'm glad about. I didn't want to be the reason that their season almost ended or the reason they don't get to practice 2 weeks before nationals. So I'm glad I didn't give it to anyone else.
And talk about that whole experience, going to nationals and being successful.
Going to nationals, I wasn't sure I was going to be successful because, like I said, I didn't even get on the mat. I literally felt rusty. Coach Grant was like sending me positive texts. He's like, this might be good. This could be a mental refresher. Get some time off so you could be like 110% when you're on the mat. So that's what I was telling myself. I was staying positive. I was staying motivated. I was like, this is my time. Can't let this little setback stop me. Because, life's 90% 90% what happens to you and 10% how do you react. Or actually, it's the other way around.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Because, unfortunate things happen to us in our lives all the time. And, it's up to us to decide how we want to react. And that tells the kind of what kind of man you are.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. That's a lot of wisdom. For how old are you?
Now I'm 19.
Man, a lot of wisdom from a 19. I could learn from you. But I want to just switch gears a little bit, Coach McKenzie, and talk about the process it is taking. You've been here from infancy stages, building this program, as the young folks say, getting it out the mud, and you're really putting things together. Just talk about what it's taken to get this program here.
Well, so I'm a local guy. I grew up in Dearborn. When I graduated high school in 1992, the first place I looked at was Henry Ford Community College. And I thought for sure they had a wrestling team. I even told some of my buddies, I'll just wrestle at Henry Ford Community College. I didn't even know that they didn't have it. So it took a minute to figure that out. What's so important to me is I wish this program existed for me. And I keep thinking about that all the time. When I got the green light to get the club started, there wasn't a doubt in my mind. I knew I could do it. I've been coaching for a long time. I relate well with student athletes. I'm a popular teacher at my school. I have that personality to build things. Once I got that green light, I knew it was just a matter of time. It was a struggle. I mean, starting a club team, there wasn't a budget. We didn't have scholarship money. There wasn't travel funds. There wasn't anything. It was just recruiting local kids who wanted a second chance that totally got overlooked. And it happened. I did build it brick by brick, wrestler by wrestler. We didn't really have a full squad back in the day, but we had kids that cared, kids that showed up 2-3 times a week for a club team. And we traveled, regionally, just locally around Michigan. We even ventured out into Ohio a few times, but there was a national tournament for the NCWA, our club division. And we did okay. We had 2 All-Americans in that. And when we got the green light to finally make it a varsity sport, it was like I took a deep breath and I thought, well, we did it. I did it. This is crazy. This is a dream. But I knew I could do it from the beginning. Okay, so then we get the green light. This is my 8th year on campus. The first 4 were the club, and the next 4, we just finished 4 years as an intercollegiate sport. We already have 3 more All-Americans. We already have so many national qualifiers. We won the conference in 2020. We were second place this year. Everything is trending the right way. And in the recruiting game, it hasn't gotten easier. I mean, there's all these programs popping up, and then Michigan coaches are always trying to recruit the Michigan kids. But what I love about Henry Ford College is the location. There's so many kids. If you draw a circle around Dearborn, Michigan, there's so many high school wrestlers. Not all of them can afford to go away, okay? I always sell the dream of a second chance. And I not only the location, but I love the price. I love the size. I love the prestige of Henry Ford College. Like this, if you do 2 years at HFC and you do all the right things and you hustle and you get the grades in the classroom, it just opens doors for you. And you save your family and yourself so much money. It's going to a community college and playing a sport at a community college is like one of the best decisions you can make.
And before we get out of here, I have to kind of talk about this team. You're going to miss a seal, I'm sure.
We're all going to miss it.
But you think about some of the talents that you have on this roster. Caleb Nicholson, I got a chance to see him at the Hawks Invitational, 141. Elijah Kidder, 149. And then I remember Vaughn Petty, bigger kid, 174. Just kind of talk about those building blocks that you have coming from programs like Dearborn Forge and Westland John Glenn and Wyandotte Roosevelt.
So I mean, these kids that we just mentioned, they're fairly local kids. They probably all knew each other in high school. They were buddies, or they competed against each other's teams, so they knew each other. But Caleb Nicholson, he's from Redford, so it's not very far away. He made a great decision by coming here. He's basically a 4.0 student. He took second in the conference. He almost won it. He works super hard in the classroom, on the mat. Super happy to have him. Super happy to have him come back. I think we're going to expect big things from Caleb Nicholson next year as a sophomore. Elijah Kidder, he's a walking success story. If everyone knew his background, people would just give him a standing ovation. Okay, he absolutely fell in love with wrestling. I think sports can be the glue that keeps kids in school. He chose Henry Ford College. I was lucky to get him too. He's from Royal Oak, which isn't too far, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump down Southfield Freeway. But he chose Henry Ford College. He's getting good grades. He's one of the hardest workers on the team. He's in the off season. He sends me these video text messages of him lifting weights in his basement or his garage. He's always working, always trying to improve. He could have transferred, but because of the COVID year, he's choosing to stay one more year at Henry Ford, which means the world to me because he likes what we're doing. He likes the program that we run. Vaughn Petty, he's a walking success story too. He had a fantastic high school career and academically. He's the first honors program student. So he's in the honors program student. He's a 4.0 in the honors program. He hard worker. Other coaches have noticed him. Other coaches have asked about him. Four-year colleges are dying to get their hands on him. They all want Vaughn Petty. He's coming back for his sophomore year, and Henry Ford College is going to open the doors for all these kids.
Well, I tell you what, I've really enjoyed this segment. Coach McKenzie, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And Azil, much success for you over at Gannon.
Thank you.
And we're going to be keeping our eyes on Erie, Pennsylvania to see just how special your career turns out. And I also want to take this time to say thank you to the athletic director here at Henry Ford College, Rochelle Taylor, who put this together. I want to say congratulations to the volleyball team. The women's volleyball team did well. Well, they did great. The golf team, as well as the baseball team, want to shout all these great programs out. And we want to send it off with a video tribute and fight song celebrating excellence. Hawks are flying high right here in Henry Ford College. I'm Eric Pate, the voice of Henry Ford College Athletics, saying so long, and we'll see you next time.